Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. We're so glad you're with us today to stay curious. Look who's in the house, none other than legendary CNN reporter, Mr. John Zarrella. Hello,
It
John.
is my absolute pleasure. I'm so glad I got here a little early so
You
I could
did.
spend some time seeing this fabulous place. I had no idea. This is just it's wonderful
Well,
what you
thank you.
folks have done here with this. Absolutely wonderful.
Well, what we've done here for over 20 years has been
Yeah.
preserving the birth of America's space age right in its delivery room, Brevard County. 20 years we've had a museum celebrating the space worker, and I showed you some things
Yeah.
you'll never see anywhere else. And we launched a rocket in our Cape Canaveral gallery, and you met Karen Conklin, our executive director. And we're stay curious is a big part of our strategy to let other people around the world enjoy one space history of our wonderful Apollo era. But for me, John, it is the legacy of our fabulous 3 decade shuttle era. And you were
Yeah.
one of the chief reporters of that whole legacy.
Spent a lot of time covering the space shuttle
Yes.
program, that's for sure.
We're glad to have you here. We're going to talk about his career a little bit here. Apologize that there's not 2 R's in your name, but I sent it in that way.
Oh, look at that. They
Yeah.
misspelled my name. You know
We're
how
the
many-
first ones to
No,
probably
yeah,
do
you're
that,
first.
right?
Do you know, even CNN misspelled my name, and I only worked for them for 32 years.
Really?
And I had it come up like that on the screen with only 1 R. So don't,
Well, no
don't
offense.
feel bad about
Well,
it.
that's our Trekkie Techie. She's allowed this program to go to a new level there. Hope she's watching. But Marty Winkle, my co-producer.
Yep.
Marty, this is episode 760, I believe,
Wow.
that we've done in almost
Wow.
3 years, born out of the pandemic in March 23rd, 2020. Marty's been with me on this, and we've had a lot of fun. We've loved and fought like brothers, but Marty is a lunar module electrical engineer, was inside of all those ascent stages in the 60s. and went
God
to the
bless you,
moon.
Marty.
And
God bless you.
then for 30 years, he worked on the engines, the launch processing service. You did a few stories on that.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
Marty, say hi on our UCAC family microphone there.
Hi, Mark. Hi, John. How you all doing?
Good. Well, I got to admit, Marty, I've been a little nervous to interview John here. I've not been. I was kind of uptight about a few astronauts, quite frankly, because you're part of the brethren that I was in as a young man. I spent 15 years in the Associated Press and a couple newspapers, and chasing fire trucks and wrecks and things like that. And I've wrote a column for over 22 years on space and astronomy in Johnson City, Tennessee, and I used some of your reporting as anchoring some of my stories. I don't think I plagiarized anything, John, but there was
Well,
a
if you had, you wouldn't have been the first. Let's put it that way.
It's hard to get information back in the Stone Age
Yeah, it was.
about the shuttle.
But
So,
at least the information you got back then was generally correct information.
yes, it was
Right? You didn't sit there and question, well, wait a minute, is that really accurate?
And all these hashtags that I'm supposed to do something with there. Well, John, tell us a little bit about where you grew up, what kind of
Gosh.
families you grew up in, what kind of girls you marry, and
Oh, my goodness.
And,
Well, I was an only child, and I grew up, I was born and raised in Miami Beach.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, my family was from Connecticut, and they moved down before I was born, my mom and pop, and lived there, all of my growing up years. Went to high school there, went to college at a small Catholic college called Biscayne College at the time. It was called Biscayne. Now it's St. Thomas University.
And I
And,
understand you founded the journalism department there.
You did your homework.
Uh,
Wow. Yeah. When I left high school, they gave me a scholarship. So I had a free ride to the university for 4 years. And part of the deal was that I would run the journalism program there. They had one, but it had fallen apart and they needed to restart it and do all that. So I stepped in and did and started the journalism school program there. And along with a couple other guys and the advisor we had, we managed to get a newspaper to. It wasn't easy, but and when you're at a small school, you're writing most all the stuff. It's you and a couple of people that are And it was an all. When I first got there, the first year or two, there weren't really any women on campus at all. It was a all male university. So, but it was a great experience. I did that, and then my senior year there, I got an internship at a local TV station in Miami, WPLG, and ended up getting the internship. And Dick Williams was, God rest his soul, he was the news director. So he kind of gave me my first internship, and after that he hired me to be the weekend morning assignment desk and weekend noon news producer. So, which of course I knew, I had no clue what I was doing. And anyway, but I always used to kid with Dick. I said, the only reason you hired me was because you wanted me on the basketball team. And I said, that's the only reason why I know it, because you needed my girth on the basketball team. So anyway,
blocking.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys going down the lane,
I was blocking the guys out. So anyway, that was how I got started in television, and spent half a dozen years or so batting around in local television, Miami, West Palm Beach, Atlanta, Georgia for 4 years, WXIA TV, then up to Baltimore, Maryland.
Let me tell little people about your resume here that we pulled off here. Of course, John was the principal correspondent for CNN's coverage. You were at the beginning, cutting edge of the cable news network.
Yeah.
And I remember getting the cable for the first time in the early 80s. And people were getting away from the rabbit ears, actually.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. And, of course, Ted Turner was a big leader of that.
Founder of CNN?
Yes. Yeah. And you ever meet Ted? You ever come down and hand you your check?
He never handed me the check, although there were times early on when we were worried whether we were going to get a check.
I'll bet.
Oh, yeah. There were times. But I knew Ted quite well. I have some Ted stories. There's some funny Ted stories.
We're going to get you back, hopefully, and more Stay Curious, and you can tell those stories. This guy has covered everything from in space, from John Glenn's return to space in 1998, Pathfinder mission to Mars.
Yeah.
Of course, the Challenger disaster. You were on site there for that horrible tragedy. Yeah. And then, of course, he covered the final flights of the shuttle. Over 75 shuttle flights you covered for CNN.
I did, yeah.
And getting to know you a little bit, John, how did you have them fooled so long?
Oh, it was my hair.
Oh, it was your hair?
It's
you
hair.
had good hair.
You
That's
have
right.
good hair. You can lengthen your stay in television as long as your hair is good.
Yeah.
You can smile a little bit and you can talk a little bit. They say dazzle them with your footwork.
That's right.
So that's how I fooled them.
Well, you see why I was in the print media. I'm losing my hair and everything out there. But this gentleman here, like I said, I watched him as a journalist and so forth and admiring his good work. Folks out there in Space Geek land, I want to just let people know some of the amazing stories that you covered for CNN. He was at the Jean-Claude Baby Doc Duvalier return to Haiti.
Yeah.
The air crash in Brazil. The Air France air crash, big jet crash there. The Honduras coup in 2011.
A lot of old, yeah.
The network won the Peabody Award with some of your coverage of the Gulf oil spill in 2010.
Yeah.
I remember this. I wondered if you were involved in that. The Elian Gonzalez story in 2002 in Miami.
Yeah, Elian Gonzalez. Yeah.
A custody fight for a young little boy.
Yeah, from Cuba.
That was amazing. The Murrow Federal Building bombing in Oklahoma City, and I have sat in the tribute chairs and really almost cried just thinking about that.
Yeah, it was horrible.
The 1985 hijacking of TWA in Beirut.
I was working for CNN in Egypt at the time, and when the TWA flight was hijacked, and we ended up on the ground in Algiers for a while, then in Paris, then back to Cairo, then to Larnaca, Cyprus, and then finally into Germany to when the hostages were released. So during a 2-week span,
you were flying with all that.
We were back and forth. Yeah.
And trial of Manuel Noriega, and Mexico City earthquake in 85. I mean, these are some big chops there. You also won 2 Emmy Awards. I forgot to say you're an Emmy Award winner.
I don't even remember that.
Well, what it does say here in this
Maybe they
Mad
made that-
Magazine
maybe they
bio
made
of
that
you
up.
here, that was explain those. One for your production of public affairs series in WXIA.
Oh yeah, that was
in
one of
Atlanta.
those. Yeah, that was the mandated show that you had to do once a week called News. We called it Newsmakers.
Mhm.
It was to satisfy the FCC commitment to
Oh, I
public
got you.
service.
Right,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
right.
So it was a Newsmakers program, that one. So, and that was the local Emmy that we got for that. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Well, there you are with the shuttle there, and that
There it
beautiful
is.
head of hair there.
There we are.
But honestly, John, and here you are. Want to brag on him here. That,
All those hurricanes I covered over the years.
in 2003,
Jeez.
you got the prestigious Media Award
Mhm.
by the Emergency Preparedness Association of Florida for outstanding efforts to inform the public of problem of hurricanes and issues faced by
Yeah.
emergency. In other words, you would do anything to get on TV, wouldn't you? Look up
Absolutely.
there.
There it was. There it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, what you're doing is testing with
that was a test.
you're
Yeah.
telling Wolf Blitzer what it was like to be in a hurricane. there.
Exactly, and those winds were 100 miles an hour, at least according to the University of Florida guys we were working with on that.
But seriously, you're
That was one
show
of
that
the-
one say
Yeah.
seriously there. That's a nice award.
Yeah.
That's something that sticks out
Oh
in your
yeah.
career.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of that. He's well. We're going to show another picture of you here in a red from the red CNN hurricane proof.
Yeah, that was.
cargo.
It wasn't so hurricane proof. I'll tell you that. I was soaked.
And there you are at the
That was the opening of the astronaut Hall of Fame.
Heroes
Heroes and Legends. That was the
Boeing.
opening of Heroes and Legends, the grand opening, and Theron Protze, who's the head of the
CEO of
CEO
Delaware
of
North,
the Delaware
yeah.
Visitor Complex. He had all the astronauts got blue blazers.
Oh, really?
They all were wearing a blue blazer, and I was given the red blazer to wear. So I remember we had to go and get ourselves sized for all these blazers, but yeah, so I ended up with the red blazer. And anytime I see Theron, and he says, "Where's that red blazer?" I said,
Oh, really?
It's hanging in the closet there, and where it belongs.
Well, there you are in a beautiful looking
Yeah,
tux, looking all
Yeah,
handsome.
there you go.
That is the our
NASA Awards in Houston, which I'm going to MC again this year.
you MC a lot of things is what I wanted to bring out.
Yes, the end of April.
The NASA does not stand for what you think it does.
No, it
That
doesn't.
is what is that acronym?
Our NASA is Rotary.
It's a Rotary
Club.
National
It's the Rotary.
Association.
Yep.
Something.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Rotary. There.
Our NASA, and they do a huge
uh,
event every year down in Houston and give out all kinds of space awards.
and you also are MC for the Scholarship Foundation.
Yes, for the induction ceremony
there.
Right,
And,
right, and the black tie dinner. So I do both of them, both those, and so these are really
Fun
the
gigs
three.
to have, right?
Oh, those are those.
The-
Yeah, absolutely. I
mean,
wouldn't. I mean, you kidding me? Rubbing
these are-
elbows?
Yeah, right.
Oh
I mean,
my goodness! Wouldn't have it any
all
other
those
way.
hurricanes, flak jacket under
All that
war,
stuff I used
stuff
to
like
have
that.
to do. Yeah,
This is like the reward for it. I
yeah.
think, right?
I think this is the payback finally.
Good. And well, you won a nice award from the National Space Club,
Yeah.
the Harry Holcomb Award, which is
Yeah.
very revered by all of you
Yes.
media people here.
That was a really really cherished award that I got.
And that was in 2013. There,
Yeah.
9 years ago. You're still holding up pretty good there.
Not
a
too
decade
bad.
Later
Not
there.
too bad.
And so let's see, what else was I bringing up about John?
Oh,
Let's talk a
yeah.
little bit about your shuttle. Well, I want you to look back just a second
Mhm.
before we leave the CNN landscape. All right, tell us a little bit about those that aren't my age and so forth. Forget about how important the cable news networks were. Literally, the news cycle was only NBC News on TV in the morning,
Yeah,
and the three networks for a half hour in the end, right?
Well, and if you want to bring it into full focus as far as the space program goes, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people, I'm sure, at this point in time, all these years later, don't realize that when Challenger exploded, the only network that was carrying it live was CNN.
Mm-hmm.
The local stations in Orlando, of course, did, but the networks, the main three big networks, they had already all decided, this is routine.
But with the teacher in space, that was so incredible to me
I
that
know.
they all passed on that.
I know.
I mean, that was
phenomenal.
that was like snubbing President Reagan
It
because
was
he wanted to
phenomenal.
do that, in my humble opinion, not the museums. Okay.
But when you think about the fact that you're talking about the impact of cable, I mean, there you go. There's
Yeah.
one of the main impacts.
Oh.
And if you talk about the Gulf War, which is off topic, the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, who was the driver during the Gulf War? It was CNN with its, you know, the Gulf War One with all of its coverage. So
refresh us with some of your other colleagues at CNN. Take you
oh
down
my
that.
gosh.
You-
Well, from the people that I worked with over the years covering the space program go back to Tony Clark, who was a Dallas bureau chief, and Tony would always in the early days he handled some of the on-set coverage in Atlanta. They'd move him and take him to Atlanta and have him do that. Then he ended up always being the principal guy that they had at Johnson during launches, and he would always go to Johnson for a launch. And
Terry Clark.
Tony
Clark.
and of course Tom Mintier, who was the correspondent back when the Challenger accident happened. Tom Mintier, he's passed away, but Tom was on the set, and he was phenomenal that day, just phenomenal in Atlanta that day. And then after John ended up going to Thailand, which is where his wife was from, and he was a national news correspondent for CNN. So space wasn't the only thing he covered, which was the same with all of us. It wasn't the only thing we covered. You know, I covered hurricanes, I covered the Murrah Federal Building. You know, whatever you had to do, you did. Our specialty may have been space, but we had to do all the other stuff. And then of course was John Holloman, who was a dear, dear friend. And of course, John passed away in a tragic car accident. And, there was talk back before the accident that, John might have been able to, punch his ticket to get a ride in space. And then he passed away. There was talk. It was never anything official, but there was talk. And then, of course, Miles O'Brien came in, and he became correspondent and the anchor for the Space Shuttle coverage out of Atlanta and or New York, because he ended up anchoring the morning show out of New York, and so he did a lot of the shuttle anchoring there. And I would, for the most part, I would be the guy who was always at the Cape doing the launches. That's how I ended up with 75 of them over the years.
Yeah.
And so, I was fortunate, privileged to work with some absolutely wonderful people when it came to covering the shuttle program, and a network that valued the coverage of space. We put a lot of resources into it that others, didn't. And not so much our facility at the Cape, which was a trailer, where the others had buildings.
Right.
But as far as the content and the amount of time we spent covering space,
salary, people
I'd say
power, the heaviest expense of any business, paying people.
Yeah, but we did it, but we covered it. We covered it from all angles, and we did, I think, so much more than anybody else, any other network did. That may just be me talking, but I'm pretty sure it's true. Pretty accurate.
Well, not only pioneers of that, covering the shuttle era, because I watched CNN on April 12th, 1981. When the first shuttle was launched, but pioneering the way the 24-hour news cycle was formulated to begin with there. John, we're talking with John Zarrella here. So happy that he's found our museum. And of course, you space geeks, don't go crazy now. Yes, I know he has a restaurant that some of us love to eat in. Okay, we will cover that here. I'll give you a taste of that here just a little bit.
I should have brought a taste with me.
Yeah, you should have. You take pizzas all the way out to the launch photographers.
I did, didn't I? I did.
Marty, we have a question there.
Who's asking? I'm sorry. Give me a second, please.
Okay.
Oh, Mark Usiak. Is lasagna on the menu tonight?
Is lasagna on the menu tonight from Mark Usiak?
Yeah.
Another one of the space photographers.
That's right. That's right. Well,
if he didn't put in the order, it probably isn't.
Uh-oh.
It's a special. They don't run it all the time. He knows that. So he's just pulling yanking my chain right now. That's a typical Mark Usiak.
That's right.
His favorite wine will be there on the menu.
Well, Jack Lausma's not in town. And
Jack puts in the order.
That's right.
And
That's
got
right.
Jack is absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Thank
We
you,
want
Mark.
some serious questions out here for this serious journalist here. And that was on the. I got. Is there any assignment you wish that you had that you didn't get?
Oh, wow.
Just off the top of your head.
Assignment that I didn't get.
That Miles O'Brien got, and you said, "Doggone it, I should have been."
I don't know that there were any Miles ones. I mean, because we were a tandem and a team.
Yeah,
and
that. Kind of
so no, that's fine. I don't think,
Well, maybe not.
I don't think that Miles and I were, so.
Oh no, I'm not
competitive or
insinuating
anything
that. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Being in the news business, you're like going, wow,
Well, we talked about it all.
But I always thought like the better man always went. Better man or woman always went when the lots were charged.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was like we said outside. You asked me if I'd ever been to Kazakhstan to cover launch. No,
right.
I wasn't, and that's something that I,
cool.
Regret that I never had the opportunity to do was to cover a launch from Kazakhstan.
John, how about your hardest live moment on TV?
Hardest live moment. Doesn't have to be space related, right? I mean,
no,
I think
I'm thinking
if it's space, if one was space related, of course it was challenging.
Yeah.
Clearly
non-space related.
Non-space related, I would say it was covering Hurricane Katrina, and we, after it blew through, and then the levees broke, and we were in the hotel, and we got up that next morning. And because it went through in the morning, and then that night the levees broke. The next day, everybody was thinking, "Oh, it's all great in Miss New Orleans." Blah blah blah. We woke up, and there were cars floating in the street outside of our hotel. So we were stranded there for a few days, and some of the live coverage we had to do we had slogged through, thigh deep water in the hotel with all kinds of junk in it to get up to the roof of the parking deck and do our live reporting, and you could hear the gunshots going off and people running down the, Canal Street, and and see the burning refineries and things in the distance.
Wow.
And so, I mean, I think that was about as stressful an event as I can recall being in. That, and maybe in Haiti a couple of times were pretty dicey. Panama, mentioned Noriega.
Mm-hmm.
We did stuff in Panama before he was deposed and, brought to the U.S. for trial. And there were some crazy times on the streets of Panama City. So there were some moments where, you weren't quite sure how this was going to turn out. Yeah.
Wish your cameraman had a gun instead of a cameraman.
Yeah, there were times that you're right about that.
But what do you miss most about being in the trenches of the news business?
Put my feet up and having a cigar after the live shots were done.
Really?
The thing I miss most, I used to say I had more fun covering hurricanes than you shouldn't say that because they're a dangerous, terrible thing. But they happen, and we'd go to cover every hurricane I covered every hurricane that hit the U.S. Just about, except for one or two, over the course of 30 years.
Wow.
And so we kind of relished doing that. But after I left, I didn't miss that anymore. I didn't miss being soaked and cold and wet for, hour after hour. But what I do miss, if there's any one thing that I missed, it is I don't get to cover the space program as much on a steady basis as I do for a couple of clients I have for my little company that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I was very, very fortunate to cover Artemis and do that, and I'm very fortunate that we still do a lot of stuff, my photographer and I, on some of the missions when they go up, and we'll do Starship when Elon Musk launches that, and we'll do Starliner when Boeing gets that off the ground, and certainly we'll do some of the Artemis launches, obviously coming up, I hope, God willing, down the road, if and when they ever announce the crew.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Well, good. I thank you for letting me take you down memory lane a little bit there, because Yeah, John Zarrella is more than just a outstanding space reporter. Like I said, you're reporting on the hurricanes, all these other dealings. It's just not only exemplary but quite dangerous too.
Well, it had its moments. That's
Has
for sure.
moments, yeah.
You know, let me say one thing. There was
Sure.
one of the favorite things that I absolutely loved covering was going out to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I had more fun going out there covering the Mars rover landings on Mars than I mean that was those people out there. You know, shout out to JPL.
Yeah.
They are wonderful people, and they took care of us. And covering the Sojourner rover, which was the first rover to land
the little
on
tiny one.
the little tiny one, probably not much bigger than this, right?
Right,
It wasn't a
right.
whole lot bigger than that. Did I get that about like that, folks?
Yeah.
So
My pencil box.
yeah, your pencil box. So Sojourner rover and Pathfinder was the lander, and doing that. And I remember it ran into a rock at one point, and I think it might have been the rock that they named Yogi. And so of course that they announced it and talked about it, and then of course that day I come up with this line when I'm on live, and I'm like, well, they've had their first fender bender on Mars, you know.
There you go.
And then of course the other people picked it up and were using the line, and I'm like, hey, you stole my line.
First fender bender.
But those were some fun. JPL was just great to go out there and work. That's
Trying to think of the director out there. He's on the tip of my tongue.
well, there's a new one now, and I can't remember her
they
name
got
off
through
the top of my head. She just took over recently, and
Malachi was one.
Right.
And the one before Stone.
Yeah.
Stone
I did
was a
stuff
big
with
guy.
both of them when
Yeah.
But
You
she's
came
just-
on after Carl Sagan, I think.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Sagan was already gone by then.
Yeah. Because that'd be a great interview to have had, of course.
Mm.
Well, John, we're going to take John Zarrella here, talk a little bit about the shuttle. Not in too much depth there, but what should the legacy of the shuttle? As we're looking at a magazine, I believe, out of Tampa or somewhere, that you really rode a wave of popularity covering Atlantis STS-135 in July 2011.
That's right. Yeah.
In there.
I think, and we did a documentary for CNN, which was called After Atlantis, where we looked back and then we looked forward, and where space program was going. So it was a 1-hour documentary. It was quite well received, and my producer Rich Phillips did some outstanding work on that. But the legacy of shuttle,
how's it going to be judged?
Well,
in another 30 years?
You know what? I have always said, and I believe this dearly, that the space shuttle was an opportunity that was afforded to individuals and nations from around the world to fly their people in space, which they never ever would have had that opportunity to do if not for the space shuttle. And I don't remember the numbers now off the top of my head of all the individuals from how many different countries that were flown, but it's quite a few.
Right.
And when you're flying, seven astronauts at a time, and you're flying, Canadian astronauts and European astronauts and Italian astronauts and Japanese astronauts and, astronauts from Israeli astronauts everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were India, and I think, they were from Latin America.
German
partners, right? There was no vehicle that could have done that but the space shuttle. And yes, it was instrumental in building the International Space Station. No doubt about that.
Well, there's a Belgium astronaut.
Yes.
Vocals. And Belgium could never say that we had an astronaut. You're right there, John. That's a great point to make.
I have said that for years, that to me, it brought the world closer together. And, otherwise you just would have had nation states flying their own people and not flying anybody else.
Yeah,
Russian astronauts flew on the space shuttle. So that's the way I always looked at space shuttle. But, space shuttle, after the Challenger accident, and then the decisions were made, a lot of people said they decided to build the International Space Station was in the works, but the ISS was built to give the space shuttle a reason for existence coming out of Challenger, because the Air Force and the military said, no more. We're not putting our payloads on the shuttle anymore. We're not going to do that. We're going to go.
Yeah.
You know, and the Vandenberg, the plans to put a shuttle launching out of Vandenberg were 86 after
That's
all
right.
that. So,
Slick 6 was 86.
exactly.
Good way to put it.
Exactly. So yeah. So, you know, I mean, the shuttle's reason for being became to make sure that they could launch all of these components of the International Space Station, which only a vehicle with a cargo bay the size of the shuttle could have done.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that was part of its reason. But I will always believe till the day I die that the shuttle was instrumental in its ability to bring peoples of the world together.
That's a great perspective here from John Zarrella, 3 decades CNN reporter, all over the world. What experiences he's been sharing with us today. We're so happy to have you on Stay Curious. We got any questions, Marty? Any comments coming in? No? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a little more about the future. Also, we wanted to talk about losing this guy in the past here. Mr. Hugh Harris passed away almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I became fast friends with this gentleman in just the year I got to know him. Made a very big impression on me, and you worked with him as the Public Affairs Office Director or Assistant Director. Died at age 90, and what have you got to say about this nice man?
Hugh was one of the things I always like to say about Hugh was that, you know, Hugh was a wonderful human being, absolutely wonderful human being. Rarely ever did you see him with a sour look on his face. He's always had that, you know, it's this wonderful, outgoing personality. And, you know, I remember him, you know, always, and when we'd walk in coming in the door, and we'd hit town for a mission coming up, and head over to the dome to go in where the, you know, media folks were, and he would be, hey John, how are you? You know, it's good to see you, John. I used to always say that, and there were times when I'd ask Hugh questions, right? I'll say, if I went up to Hugh and said, you know, Hugh, can you do, this is what we really like, I need something done for me. Can you, you know, make this happen? Is this possible? And you'd walk away after asking him this, and he had such a way about him that you'd walk away and you go, wait a minute, did he say yes or no on that? I wasn't sure. I got to go back and check again. I mean, that's the personality he had, right? He was just, it's like, what? No matter what it was, he'd always give you such a wonderful way of putting things and the way to answer you that, you know, so yeah, I just remember Hugh as always being a guy that you knew that you would get the straight answers from. You know, if he had an answer to a question you had, you know, he would make sure that you got, if you needed an interview with somebody, if it was possible, he would tell you if it was possible. If it wasn't going to happen, he wouldn't make excuses or say anything. He'd say, you know, he was just straight. He was just, you know, the old straight shooter saying. And just that wonderful personality that he had. In fact, when they did return to flight after Challenger, there was an event that they had at one of the hotels or at Shepherd Park or something over, you know, here. And I recall that I have a collage at my house that has all my patches from the different parts. You know, you had the badges, all the different badges. We had, you know, the return to flight rollout badge, and we had first motion badge, you know, different events that happened. The FRF, you know, the flight readiness firing badge, you know, that you got. And then newspaper articles and everything else that my wife had assembled in a nice collage. And there's an article and a picture from the local newspaper with Hugh and I standing next to each other, you know, that I have in that collage just talking. I went and looked at it the other day, and I was like, wow. So that's just, so yeah, and you know, people like Lisa Malone who followed Hugh afterwards and became, you know, running the
Right. Hi, Lisa, if you're watching. We know
yeah, hi, Lisa. Lisa has always credited Hugh with being so incredibly important to her career, you know. And he was, that's the other thing. You always, at least from an outsider, you know, looking in at the group that they had assembled there, Public Affairs at KSC, it was just a wonderful group of people. And I think that Hugh was greatly responsible for the camaraderie that they had, and the way that they all conducted themselves with those of us, in the media.
Yeah, I can see where it spun off. You and I've been in the news business.
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of grouchy and yelling and terse bosses.
Never saw it. Never heard it from you.
But
Nope.
that's what kind of this guy's demeanor. Immediately, I'm going. He's so soft spoken.
Yes.
He's like,
Yes.
he was just like. But he it always struck me as a guy that whatever he said, you could take it to the bank, and
But he would always seek you out. Even long after. Whenever I would be doing an event for one of the inductions or something, if you happened to be there at the event, he would always seek me out. He'd come up made a point to come up and say hello to me. I mean, that's the kind of human being he was.
Yeah. Good guy. He's going to be missed.
Yes,
90
he
years old is a great
Good life.
long life.
Yes,
Great
indeed.
life.
Yes, indeed.
He will. Hopefully, they'll do something at the Space Center.
I hope so.
To remember him.
I do hope so.
And he did a lot for just not being the voice of NASA and the shuttle, but he did a lot for education programs with the media,
Mhm.
businesses, and so forth. Was all about that, and he was real proud that Bob Crippen was the one that made him the director. He liked Crippen
Yes.
a lot. So
Yeah, who didn't?
And,
I love
so,
Crippen. Crippen and I love Crippen.
and hello to Bob Crippen. Well, who is that handsome guy?
There he
We
is.
changed
Yeah, there you go.
In a way to talk about, let's talk a moment here about going from the cutting edge cable news network to today's coverage on social media with people like this lady, Ellie.
Ellie in space.
Ellie in space. There you are,
I
Ellie.
think she's over there with Mark Usiak right now somewhere.
I'll bet she
Yeah,
is.
we know.
Carlton's.
We in
So,
Carlton, and
this young lady has a very nice, well-watched
She
video
does.
podcast.
She does. She interviewed me at length for
yeah,
one of
so I
her
stuck
segments.
that on. I watched
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and she did a pretty good job.
She did. She did a very good job.
But I put that up as my way of saying times have changed a little bit, John.
A little
in
bit,
the
just a
media
little bit,
world,
yeah,
from print journalism to cable news network to social media.
Yeah,
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. So, kind of what do you think about what's going on?
Well, I mean, I think that, gosh, I don't know. What the heck do I think about all that? I think that it's inevitable. It's changed. So you're not putting the genie back in the bottle. It's out there, and we have
Good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there. We have to accept the fact that, social media is going to be a driver, certainly not just for space, but for any kind of news coverage. My concern has always been that you're just, when you see things on social media, and maybe it's just the old timer in me and some of us, but I sit there and I go, well, how do I know that's true? Well, people probably said the same thing about stuff I did too back when I was on the air. Well, how do we know what he's saying is true just because he's saying it? So but that's the thing that the only thing that I really worry about. I know NASA's embraced it from the space. They have the NASA socials, then they have the social media folks,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they invite some of the credible people that they know are credible people that are, covering and doing things on social media. And there is still tremendous amount of interest in space. And I think that people like Ellie in space and others like her are valuable to spread the word and the message, because more and more people, as we know, are getting their news or getting their information not from television news. They're getting it from social media.
Right.
Now, is that, again, it goes back to, well, is that a real good thing when you really don't know about the sources and the this and the that? But at the same time, you got to take the good with the bad no matter what. There are people who are out there, again, like Ellie, who are trying to do the right things and cover it properly and get the information out there, whether it's talking to people like me or whether it's, talking about upcoming launches and things like that, things that are going on. But they're spreading the word about space coverage. And that's that's what has to happen because, you know, and I really do believe that you need that. You need the word to be spread outside of the halls of NASA and NASA publicity and public affairs and stuff like that. It's just because more people are getting their information from other sources now than they ever did in the past.
Like, stay curious. That's what we're doing
Right?
here.
Isn't that what we're doing right here?
We challenge anybody to tell me who's providing content of astronaut birthdays, celebrating the shuttles of the month,
Well, you know,
and having great guests like you
well,
on
you
a
know,
regular basis.
and I say this too. This is one of the things. It's like with the Artemis launch. Okay, we had the launch, and tremendous accomplishment for NASA, and they've come back, and it's been how long now since Artemis landed? I can't even remember now.
November?
Was it November? Right?
I think so.
Is it a couple months already?
Someone will tell us there.
Yeah, whatever. Somebody I can't remember. I'm getting old. But anyway, long story short, we still don't know who the crew for Artemis 2 is going to be. And since Artemis 1 landed, how much have we heard about what happened on the flight? How successful was it? You know, what did they find out about it?
The radiation's a big question.
Yeah, I mean, anything that they found out from, they had the mannequins on there, and they had all kinds of analysis and stuff. And I just sit there and I go, well, wait a minute. You know, you need to you need to do more to advance and keep the story alive when you're not going to fly
for a year,
for another an interval of 2 years.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my soapbox about that. Is I just wish that they would get out there in front of doing more stuff to keep the vision and the mission of Artemis, you know, in the forefront.
Right.
In the forefront, good or bad.
Name the astronauts so we can start talking about them. These will be some well-known astronauts too, by the way.
They're the Artemis era astronauts. You know,
And,
in fact, they were at the restaurant.
Right. We're gonna see that in a second. Marty, got a comment?
I have a comment and a question. I'm sorry. Tom Usiak had a comment. They should name the press site after Hugh Harris.
No, name the press site after Hugh Harris. That'd be awesome.
That's an excellent idea, Tom.
Excellent idea.
Tom, that was Mark's brother.
If we could lobby for that.
Yep.
And a question from Glenn Ashworth. John, do you remember standing in the rain, getting shocked by the mic?
Yes, I do.
From
Yes,
John Ashbury? Who? From John who, Marty?
John Ashworth.
Ashworth.
I believe that would have been during a hurricane, and that would have been Virginia Beach. I believe that was it. Yeah, and they had the cable running through the water from the satellite truck to me, and I just remember, I kept getting zapped holding that microphone. It's like, oh God, what a memory!
And you're still talking live?
Well, yeah,
on there. Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure might have been another one, but I know that one for sure.
Huh?
Yeah.
Did you ever cover a Super Bowl or anything like that?
Yeah.
It just popped out of my head there because I'm thinking of Prince getting shocked playing guitar in the rain in Miami.
Yeah.
There, but did you do a Super Bowl or two?
Did a couple. I did did a couple of them out of Miami. You know, we did pre-Super Bowl stuff. We'd be in the parking lot doing live and interviewing the people when they'd come in and da-da-da. We didn't cover the game or anything.
Okay.
We did that. And then we did the one in Tampa during the Gulf War when there was so much concern about possible terrorist attack at the Super Bowl. And so we were over there to cover, I know the New York Giants were in it because my producer's a huge New York Giants fan and we got him a ticket.
Wow, interesting. Well, we're winding up here, John Zarrella.
It's over already?
We're going to get to the food, all right, here. We got the buffet to come yet. But I did want to mention that I was at SpaceCom in Orlando, which is called Space Congress. There's Susie Cunningham, a great friend of our museum.
Yep, wonderful person.
Yep, she's
wonderful.
And sings like a songbird, too. And she was head of this, and they had... so it's a big love fest of all of the who's who in the business in the industry, and our Allpoint. We have two people on board of directors from Allpoint. Steve Lloyd, thank you for helping me go there, along with Stephanie Sherby, and we got to hear Janet Petro talk yesterday. but it was pretty much from a newsy.
She runs the
person.
Kennedy Space Center now.
Right, right.
She's good. You know, I like to call
You know her? You worked
I
with
say
her?
good people. She's good people. Yes.
Yeah, good local
Yeah.
person too,
She's
right?
wonderful.
Grew up around
Yes.
here and
Yes.
in there.
Janet's
and,
good people.
You could tell she's kind of gotten over the deer in the headlights after her first year, and now taking good charge.
Yes.
But
she
just
is.
excited about something like 60 partners on the
Mhm.
property now during there. And this is Jared Isaacman, who
Oh,
is
yeah.
astronaut, billionaire. That
He's gonna
is
fly again, isn't he? Put
Polaris.
another one together.
Yep, he went up with the St. Jude's
Yes.
group.
Yes.
And then he's going back up to do the first spacewalk.
Yeah.
And then the third mission they want to do at Polaris is boost the Hubble telescope. All right.
Wow.
And I was actually sitting beside Scooter Altman,
Scott Altman.
and I told him, I'll say hi to John Zarrella for you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he said I'd still make the best drink.
Yes, he does.
Okay. We'll talk about that
Yes,
in a
he
minute.
does.
But anyway, for some reason I was beside him, and it was kind of interesting because here's a Top Gun aviator, astronaut, listen to this billionaire talk about being in space and how they're pioneering things. Anyway,
Scott was commander, I think, for one of the.
two.
Well, I mean, commander for the last of the Hubble.
Yeah, 105.
missions, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
He said that they might be able to boost something because they put an adapter
Correct.
on there.
They did.
But
That's
to
correct.
hold it and try to fix the gyros, it'll need to be done.
Yeah,
They
they
need a
can't
more
do that.
complex mission than that. So,
They need a shuttle,
so
and they
the
don't have it.
that's right. The dinner bell's ringing, folks.
There it is.
That's right. Make your reservations. Zarrella's Italian wood-fired pizza and other delicious culinary
Cape
works.
Canaveral.
There, you're going to tell us a little bit about how your son, well, you did already, that
Yeah.
he got involved at another restaurant and opened this up.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we just got to say that, yes, this is a good space geek hangout.
Oh yeah. If you want
uh,
to see pictures of astronauts who've come in there, or maybe even run into an astronaut.
That's right. There's their menu, all kinds of tasty things there. You even deliver. You
Here's
even
that
deliver to the
picture.
Rocket Ranch.
I did, and that was one of the Artemis events.
Julian Leake, who's
Yeah.
a veteran since the
Yeah,
70s.
and there's Carlton Bailey, of course, right in the front
Yeah.
there, and yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were really flipped out that you did that for the Artemis wait. There's a hurry up and wait during.
Yeah, I brought two or
time
three.
out
I
there.
brought out 2 or 3 pies. I went
And,
over. Yeah. It was fun.
That's good, and we're going to talk about. There's Zarrella's from the outside. I couldn't get a hold of anybody that had pictures of this place, meaning Carlton or Mark. 'cause
They only have a million pictures.
They were running Ellie around, gun it. And they only got a million pictures of it. But
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how this sort of did your first
Oh,
real
my
astronaut
God.
there.
Al was the first.
Al Warden,
Al
there,
Warden.
Apollo 15.
Yep. Command
orbited the
module
moon
pilot.
about
Yep.
85 times.
Yes, he did. Al was. That's my son there on the right.
Okay.
Yeah, one
You're
of the
in
owners.
the back.
I'm way in the back
hopefully
there.
most of these other guys are still employed there.
Well, they're all yes.
Okay, good.
So anyway, Al and I go way back. So Al knew my son had opened the restaurant, and long story short, he was the first astronaut to come into the restaurant to eat. And he sat down because he was in and out of the Cape all the time doing stuff over at the visitor complex and all. So Al came in, he sat down, and Al ordered penne alla vodka. And
Penne alla vodka.
yep, and that's all he ever ordered. Anytime he came in after that,
Really?
He never wanted to try anything else. And I would ask myself, Al, you want no penne alla vodka? But that first time that he came in, he also liked his vodka, so he asked for a glass of from the bar of vodka. And my son had to tell him, well, we don't have a bar, we don't have the license yet, we can't give you a
But
drink.
you do now. Yes.
Oh
you
yeah,
do
we
now.
had it
Yeah,
for years
right.
now. We don't have it.
Yeah.
We didn't have it back then. So what they ended up doing was they took a little Demi-Tasse coffee cup, those little Demi-Tasse coffee cup, and they took a little bit of cooking vodka that they used to make the penne alla vodka,
Right.
and they gave him that. So then, and it was as a gag joke. But then after that, anytime that he ever came in and he ordered his vodka and his penne alla vodka, we would always bring him the Demi-Tasse cup with the cooking vodka, along with his regular drink, his regular vodka. So we all got a kick out of that.
That's
But
cool.
Al was the first to come in there and
Now that's why I'm happy to find that picture.
I am so glad you.
We
found
lost
that
him.
picture.
In fact, it'll be 2
Yeah.
years coming up here in March, I believe, maybe 3.
Gosh.
Lived about 86 years old.
Yes,
And
yes.
anybody that got to spend even 15 minutes around Al Warden, you'll never forget the story he told, I'm sure.
Never.
At that time.
Never.
And very instrumental with the American Space Museum and getting the hands of the bronze handprints of the astronauts.
Yeah.
I had the privilege to meet him a couple times.
You were
Really
very fortunate.
Tell me it was a privilege.
And you were very fortunate.
That's right. But what a haven this has become for astronaut hangout.
Anushan Sari there was
there's 4 astronauts with
a
you.
bunch of astronauts there. Yeah.
Leland Melvin's on your backside.
Yeah, and Nicole.
Nikki Stott there on the left, and Ron Garrett.
Ron Garrett, and
they went to school together.
They did over in where was it?
Daytona.
They went to Embry-Riddle.
Yeah.
Yes, but Anushan Sari there. She was the first Iranian American.
Yeah.
Paid her own way.
Yes. Yeah. She's a space tourist.
Yes.
What's happened to her?
She doesn't like it to call. She's around. She's doing a lot of stuff. She lives out on the West Coast.
Space tourist.
No. She wanted to be called a space explorer or space. I can't remember the term.
Adventure, maybe
something like that. Yeah.
Well, she was. I mean,
she clearly was
up there. Yeah.
She clearly
She's
was.
no suborbital astronaut, a cosmonaut.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
She flew to station.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd love to meet Leland too, by the way. Well, look at this
Good
all-star
guy.
cast there.
Yeah.
Yeah, from left to right there. You got Mark Usiak,
Carlton Bailey, Gene Wright. And that's Ken Kramer.
They bought a few meals there at your place.
Yeah, they've spent a little bit of cash there.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. We appreciate all
and
that.
they promoted the heck out of you
Yes,
too. You
they
know that.
have.
Yeah.
And now, so who's the guy on the right?
Oh,
Who's that launch director?
oh, that'd be Mr. Mike Leinbach.
Yep, Mike
Absolutely.
Leinbach. That's him. Good
And,
guy.
we love Mike.
Isn't Mike good?
Yep, he's wanted to help our museum. And Jonathan Ward,
Yes, who's
who
written
helped
the
write
books
the book with Jonathan.
Yep, they wrote
Mike there.
Bring Columbia home. Bring Columbia home.
And
Right?
the best $75 you're going to spend all year outside your entrance to the Kennedy Space Center will be Mike
director's
Leinbach's director's tour.
Yeah,
you
I've
need
heard
to do that.
I haven't done
You
that.
need to go out there.
Mike,
I did it.
Mike,
In
if
fact,
you're
Marty
listening-
bought it for me for my birthday last
See
year.
that?
Yeah, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm not paying for it.
I'm
kidding.
Well, you talked to Theron about
I'll
that.
talk to Mike. Hey, Leinbach.
That's
Call me.
right. And I don't know who the other gentleman
I
behind
can't see it too
Jonathan
well from
is
here.
there,
I'm
but
like,
there were some space geeks that were
it was fun
just
nights.
watching
Always
and had
fun
their ears
nights.
open.
Yes,
there.
indeed.
And of course, the rhythm of the launches that we're into.
And who is that?
Hey, there's some lasagna.
Yep. And who would that be?
Mr. Jack Lousma.
Jack Lousma.
There.
With Carlton
Yeah.
longingly looking at that lasagna.
That's right. I'm in the background there.
Yes, you are. There
Got,
you
got
Yep.
to Uber
Yep.
the great guy around. What,
Yeah.
what a guy. He is a man's man.
That was a special order, that lasagna.
Yeah.
As you know, it was like his daughter had always told us how he loved lasagna, and so the Usiaks knew he was knew he was going to be coming in town, and he wanted his. So Mark arranged it and got in touch with me, and
He's a good guy. He
yeah.
loves talking about his Skylab mission.
yes,
Yes,
he does.
He really does. And
Yes,
of course,
he
he was
does.
on the shuttle a couple times on there. So, folks, just throw a dart at your monitor there, and one of those human beings is going to be walking on the moon someday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe 2 of them.
That's the Artemis. That's a large. Not every one of them, but that's a group of the Artemis astronauts who were at the launch that didn't. The first one they had to scrub. Not they came with Bill Nelson, the administrator, who's in that picture back there.
Yeah, Bill's in the back.
Yeah, he's in the back. But those that group of astronauts there. Yeah, that you're very right. That's absolutely going to be there.
I think we got 2 of them on the station right now in there. But my guess, my money is on Victor Glover to be the commander of the moon landing.
Of the moon landing.
And that takes care of the minority.
And Victor Glover, he's
so smart.
He's actually a really funny guy.
Really?
Really clever, really funny guy.
And
So.
what a picture there. And outside of Houston, okay, I can't think of that you'd find another place where this many astronauts would congregate together at your restaurant there. We got Bill Whiting watching, Gary Gerald, he's a peanut farmer. Georgia.
Oh, that's
Bill
great.
Whiting's got a condo in town here, but
Okay.
he's a snowbird. He's freezing up in Michigan now.
Bennett Scarborough, huh?
Yeah.
I know Bennett.
Mike Bostock.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is the other list, Mark. Is this? Oh, I see. Okay, give a shout out to some of those people. watching
Dave
there
Strange.
with your
Yep.
TV voice.
Oh, yeah. Dave Strange and Tom Booth.
Stangy. Yeah, that would be a hard one to pronounce on the noon.
That's Stangy?
That's Stangy. Yeah, he's one of our ace.
Oh, Stangy. I'm thinking
Yeah.
of another person, Strange, that I know.
Okay.
This is Stangy. I didn't even see that.
Well,
My apologies, Dave. I never made those mistakes on CNN.
right.
Hazel Banks.
She was an Apollo era secretary,
Wow.
a great friend of ours.
Ophelia?
Sauterelle. She's in Normandy, France.
No kidding.
Yep. Hey, we to you, young lady. Having a nice night.
Danielle DeJong?
Dan DeJong, he's an airline pilot.
Nice.
And
Carlton. Yeah, of course, Carlton.
right,
There's
right.
Carlton. And Mark and Gene Wright and Glenn Ashworth and
Rob Mecklenburg.
Mecklenburg. Yep. Who'd I miss?
So-
Keith.
Keith Sewell's watching. Good
Keith
to see
Sewell.
you, buddy. He's an astronomy buddy of mine traveling around. the
Zelda's
country.
watching.
Hey, Zelda.
Zelda.
Stay curious, son.
Hazel I said Hazel, right? Tom Celentano.
Tom Celentano, great.
Oh,
He knows.
yeah.
He knows you. He supports her.
Yeah.
Big
Cynthia. Oh, Cynthia Rossi.
Yeah. You
Yep.
know her.
Love you, Cynthia. Yes.
Yeah, great.
Steve Hammer.
Steve
Larry's
Hammer.
watching.
Larry Pusker.
Yep.
He's
Larry
another
Pusker's
good one.
watching. I think I read them all.
Yep. You did.
Doug
Doug Forrest.
Forrest.
He's a artist in Los Angeles. On
Wow.
his lunch break. He's a graphic designer. He does. I'll show you his pencil sketches
Okay.
of the Apollo era.
I'm
that
so
he
glad
loves.
all of you were watching. That's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, well, thank you very
Greatly
much. Tell your
appreciated.
friends to watch Stay Curious on
Absolutely.
YouTube and Facebook, and get our numbers up there to where they should be for this kind of content, folks.
Yep.
Here's two outstanding astronauts of,
Yeah, that's my
America.
That's my son in the middle there. That's Michael, who runs the restaurant. And I think most everybody knows it's General Stafford on the right there,
Look at General
next to Michael's business partner, Denny. And then on the left, who's that guy on the left? Former director of the Kennedy Space Center.
Yep.
Gosh.
BC.
Yep.
Bob Cabana.
Yep.
And
Brother Cabana.
yes, you interviewed him a bunch
Oh,
of
my
times, but you know,
goodness.
12 years a director. Only the great Kurt Debus was director that same long time. He had an important job. Bob Cabana did, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Making
Yes, he did.
this national rocket
The
ranch
rocket
into
ranch. I mean, he absolutely
a business.
and yeah, the center, really the center of the universe as far as commercial rocketry is
Right.
going. You know, and no
Yeah.
doubt about it. And
We
he was
had-
instrumental in that without a lot of other people, but Cabana was definitely interested. And he is a huge Italian food critic. So,
Oh, is he?
Oh, he knows his Italian food.
Oh.
So the fact that he comes in there and eats there will tell you something.
Well, I happen to say this. I actually, at one point, was for 5 years did restaurant reviews about once a month.
There you go.
Not a
See?
critique, not a critique.
Yep.
But an Italian restaurant, any restaurant, the fundamentals have to be right. And Zarrella's has some of the finest marinara sauce you'll ever put in your
Yeah,
mouth.
they do a nice job with
Well,
that.
and there's some secret stuff going on there, I guarantee you. But your marinara is the highlight of any dish out there, as it should be. Well, we're winding down here. You do have a fun event. You tie in with a
There
lot
it
of
is. Yeah.
other causes. One is the Astronaut Scholarship
Yes.
Foundation
Yes.
that raises
Yes.
money. The Mercury astronauts founded this.
Yes, they did.
Here's last year's event.
Yeah, that's the event, and you're just talking about
Astronauts left to right.
left I can't even see them all, let alone naming them all.
That's Brown, isn't it?
Kurt Brown?
Kurt Brown.
Yep, that's Kurt.
That's
What was
Kathy Thornton with
Kathy
the mask
Thornton
on.
with the mask on.
Scooter.
Scooter, and that's Melnick,
Bruce.
who won the event last year, which is why Scooter's so upset.
Yeah, they're right there. See.
Yeah, there they are. There's the ones, and yep.
Who's the lady?
She runs part of the Scholarship Foundation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what.
She's one of the folks with the
All
Scholarship.
right, but also you got your son there.
My son and his business partner Denny, And then a couple of the
looks
other
like Kay
astronauts.
Heyer's there.
Kay
I
Heyer
saw
was there.
Kay,
Yep.
Look at the NASA administrator.
Yep, former administrator Charlie Bolden is there, right? That's
Andy
Charlie.
Allen.
Yep, Andy Allen. And oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank?
Canadian astronaut.
No. He ran.
There's another woman
I
beside
can't
Katie.
see it though. I can't. I should have brought my glasses. So
Well,
somebody will know who that.
and there they give him a little trophy for mixing a drink. They mix a drink and people
Yeah,
taste
it's called the astronaut cocktail challenge, and you get 3 different teams, or individuals, and they each make their favorite cocktail, and then everybody who's come to the event and purchased a ticket to come to the event gets to sample each of the astronauts' cocktails. And there's always some left over, so you can have more than one if you like. That's for sure. And then there's like 3 jars, and whichever astronaut has the most money in the jar, his or her jar, is declared the winner of the challenge. And I know that Melnick, somebody put $1,000 in Melnick's jar this past year, which is how he won. And that all goes for the benefit of the Scholarship Foundation, Astronaut Scholarship Foundation.
Awesome.
They do great stuff over there.
Yeah, they do. We're very familiar with them, and they're, like I said, founded by the Mercury astronauts. Laura Shepard Churchley's very involved in that.
Yes, she is.
She's been in our museum and checked it out one time in there. So
you know that she said at one of the events I was emceeing that her dad hit that it was a range ball, because the big story always was, well, they would never say what company the ball was made by, because that would make that company, when he hit the golf ball on the moon.
I thought it was a McGregor.
Well, they said they would never say what it was, and she came out and said, it was a range ball, and I'm like, what?
Oh.
She said it.
No
I don't
way.
think it's true.
No way would her dad even touch a range ball.
That's what I was
he
thinking.
loved golf.
There's no way that was a range ball.
No.
Oh, Laura, you're pulling my leg.
Yeah, that's fun. Well, we have had a great time
been
talking
fun.
with Mr. John Zarrella here. Look at, I want to show you this handsome man there. Love these promo shots.
Nothing
of
changes,
you there.
right? Yeah.
Nothing's changed, man.
There
The
you
hair
go.
is still gorgeous.
Still the same.
Man.
Still don't have much gray.
In there, and
very fortunate.
And I love this picture of you in there, John. I really enjoyed it. It's super nice to make your friendship.
Outstanding.
We hit it off right away.
Yes, we did.
As I was on the coattails of those USIAC brothers and Carlton Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
But, you do a great job still reporting, as well as do a great service. I think that your restaurants become a good hangout. Once again,
I'm very proud
Zarrella's,
of my son and his business partner, for what they've accomplished over
as you
there.
should be. It's tough business right now.
It is.
I still see the same people in there when I go in there. It's hard to keep good help, but you got a lot of great help.
Tough.
You do the customers right. The meals are well priced and very delicious. I had the eggplant parmigiana the other night, and the cheese on it was
it
like
good?
There was so much cheese on it, and yes,
Somebody asked me about eggplant parmesan one night, and I said, well, we don't make eggplant parmesan here. And I hadn't seen the new menu.
Oh, okay.
So I talk about having eggplant parmesan on your face is what I had.
That's
I didn't
good.
even know what was on the menu, that they had put it on the menu. And so I haven't tried it. I've got to try it. Maybe tonight.
Yeah, 3 little stacks of it there.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good there. We'll talk more. We hope
so.
that John Zarrella wants to come back and enjoy your company on Stay Curious. Marty, we got any comments or from our fans out there?
Yeah, Mark Usiak said the astronaut was Charlie Precourt.
Charlie Precourt, thank you. Thank
Mark.
you. I was drawing such a blank.
Yeah, we hate leaving anybody out.
He used to work. He was like in charge out at Promontory for when they did all the tests for the Space Shuttle solid rocket boosters. He worked out there in Promontory, Utah, for the folks that built the
Is that
the
right?
solids.
Yeah, that's we're talking about the astronaut on the far right. Far right there above my
Charlie
head.
Precourt.
Charlie Precourt.
Thank you, Mr.
there.
Usiak.
So,
Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
I'm getting old. I
absolutely.
forget stuff.
It's all right. No, we don't forget it. It is momentarily delayed.
Yeah,
from our,
true. That's true.
our-
From this end to that end.
Because it goes around and comes around in there. All right.
And of course, it's funny because I've spent time out in Promontory when they were doing the, RB tests and, did interviews with Charlie pre-court.
Right.
And then I'm sitting here and I'm drawing a blank on his name. I'm sorry, Charlie.
Well, I hope to maybe see you Sunday night, maybe at Zarrella's with all
There
the
you
rocket
go.
launchers after we launch
Absolutely.
another crew
I hope
Sunday
it-
morning, Saturday night. Hope
Yeah,
that
Saturday
goes well.
night,
No,
yeah.
it's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
It's Monday morning.
So
Monday
Sunday
morning.
would be, yeah.
Right. So
If people come to the restaurant before they go out to the lunch.
John, anything I didn't ask you, you like to share with our Stay Curious
I think we're
friends
good.
out there?
I think we just save it for the next time.
Good.
I think we save it for this. There's a lot of stuff.
We'll be glad that there is a next time with this guy. Hopefully he can support our museum with some of his
I would love
vast
to.
knowledge
Yep.
here on there. And Marty, thank you for a great job
Thank you,
on
Marty.
our Streamlabs lab. All right, thank you all for your interest out there. And we ended another week here, episodes like 765 or something we've done. So we'll rack it up and do it again next week, I promise you. Until then, I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you again on Stay Curious, bridging the space between us.